Welcome to Patient Zero. I'm your host, Branch Isole. Patient Zero shares a focus on personal, career, and spiritual relationship growth and sustainability. The term Patient Zero generally describes the point of origin for any experience, event, or entity. From the moment of our creation as a spirit of origination, each of us becomes the patient zero of our lifetime journey. On Patient Zero, you'll hear tips and takeaways for healthier daily interaction to achieve greater success at home and work. You'll also learn how prophecy can educate, entertain, and edify, with an awareness about prophetic events, people, and circumstances to help you know and prepare for God's purpose-filled plans. We are all soulful spirits in our essence, for it's the realm of truth and love that binds us together. The paths of the spirit and the world are divergent in scope and design. The spiritually grounded desire to live morally and ethically. These are in direct opposition to the ways of the world. This should be acknowledged and understood. And once this realization has been accepted, we can begin to look at our reality as reality, the good, the bad, and the ugly. For we are all destined to become a composite of our nature and our nurtured experiences. Spirituality gives power to not only recognize truth, but the strength of resolve to act upon it. You see, spiritual grounding embraces opportunities to respond more Christ-like. Every situation we find ourselves in now offers a truth-guided response. Now, we can never be as God is, but we can strive to come closer to Him through direct spiritual connection that He offers within the thoughts, words, and deeds of Jesus. Think of it this way. God is spirit. Spirit, who in character and nature is truth and love. His power is enveloped by omniscience, omnipotence, and omnipresence, meaning He is all-knowing, all-powerful, and ever-present. For Him to be glorified for who He is, it's necessary for Him to create those who would fulfill this role. And in doing so, it's necessary that He allow His creations, each of us as cognitive humans, to determine use of our own free will, and therefore our desire and impetus to act upon God's offer of a spiritual relationship. You see, God desires that we know Him, and then to know Him through His Spirit of His Son. He allows each of us to act upon our awareness of Him, one way or the other, by belief or rejection. Now, this may seem far-fetched, but hear me out. God has the power to intervene in our lives on our behalf. But ultimately, our choice and decision to enter into a spiritual relationship with Him is left for us to decide upon and initiate, or not. Does He allow us to be born and then abandon us? Of course not. He allows us to come into this world to explore for ourselves the paths available to each of us. And from day one, we are initially prisoners of our new existence, with and among others, in whatever their, and now our, situations may be. Now, this is the same for all living things and creatures. A seed is sown, it grows, evolves, changes, and faces challenges to its existence on a constant and daily basis. For us, however, God does provide the opportunity to know and hear of Him. So we have no excuse. For over 4,000 years, God's eternal presence here and hereafter has been shared and experienced worldwide, as prophesied. His story has been told and understood for millennia. Has it always been clear? Yes. However, it competes with the little god of self, the self-centered and self-indulgent ego of each of us. Understand this. God's desire is that none be lost, not one. His goal is to put into action by spiritual design and purpose an opportunity for all to choose to be with him. We're told God is spirit in John 4:24. In him, as creator of the universe and all it contains, includes each of us, for we too are spirit in our origination. By and through his creation, his design, we become flesh and blood, given the choice to recognize him for who he is and to decide whether we will acknowledge and follow him or turn away. Because in accordance with his will, we are each given free will to make that choice. God's desire is to be recognized for his glorious majesty only if there are those to fulfill the role of worshipers of that glory. For this reason, he created heaven and earth. In doing so, he provides life, full of opportunities and lessons that have meaning far greater than mere existence in a physical dimension. You see, as spirit in a spiritual realm, he is untouchable and unapproachable, for he is void of the blemished spirit. And because he is holy, meaning unblemished by anything not totally truth and love, nothing unholy, tainted, or stained can come into his holy presence. Now, on the one hand, we have an unreachable Holy Spirit, God, who desires to enjoy and share our worship and fellowship with him. And on the other hand, we are unable to accomplish this desire due to our inherent sinful or sin-filled nature and life. Because this spiritual union and relationship is desired, it's he, God, who must provide a solution that satisfies this need. This is accomplished through spiritual refinement or cleansing of our stain of sin, or our disobedience to his moral and ethical tenets, which must be removed, making our spirit pure and righteous again, as it was when we were with him in our origin, as a spirit and a combination with a unit of electrical energy, the spark of life. By understanding his purpose for us, according to his will, his design is accomplished by our future post-mortem reconciliation unto him. So, how can sin be nullified in order that the sinner is replete with holiness required to be in his presence again? Our spiritual soul must be released from its physical body to be cleansed of its sin nature in preparation for a reunited journey to God in his holy and heavenly realm. So how is it possible to make this transition from physical predominance back to spiritual, from unholy to purity? You see, God did not create sin. He did, however, create the consequence of sin, which is death. Death for unrepentant and unforgiven sin. But who is as holy as God? None. Only God himself in spirit. And those he has cleansed of sin's stain. Only those cleansed can come into his presence. Therefore, it's God himself who must make the provision for one as holy as he is, in order to redeem humans to himself. You see, each must pay the price, or the wages of sin, which is death, Romans 6:23, or we must find someone to take our place. God must sacrifice to overcome his own consequence for moral and ethical disobedience, what we label as sin. He alone has the power to negate this consequence that he himself has created by providing a spiritual pathway for life after mortal death. So it's he who can break the bond to defy death's eternal and permanent hold on the living who have passed. But how can the living God die if he is eternal and everlasting? As the creator of life, only God can provide for his own sacrifice to pay the price he has required by death. That sacrifice and that embodiment was and is in Jesus of Nazareth as the Christ, as the Messiah, as the one who pays the ransom for death. Thanks for joining me today. On Patient Zero, we share key takeaways for growth-filled living. If you know someone who could benefit from today's episode, please share it with them. If today's show has been interesting for you, please give us a rating and review. And to know more about my work, I invite you to visit my website, branchisole.com, my Substack page, branchisole.substack.com, and my YouTube channel, Branch Isole. Substack subscribers also receive a thought for today every morning, 2 Spiritual Christianity prophecy alerts every week, and an open mic poem short story every Saturday, as well as access to archived Patient Zero episodes and informative series and articles. Today's episode has been sponsored by Mana'o Publishing and my book, Barking Geckos. If you're interested in knowing more about spiritual growth, Barking Geckos is the book or ebook for you. It's available at the website and from Amazon. At the website, you'll find all of my books, ebooks, and gift merchandise. Thanks for joining me today. Join me again next Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right here at branchisole.substack.com, when our topic will be Kings and Servants. Until then, keep growing and be in the world, not of the world.